it was like we had plenty of opportunity. Like it was a rough start, man. Like I mean, rough, but we've had plenty of opportunity to throw in the towel, and we just chose not to. I'm religious, so prayed about it, and I made a choice. That was the biggest choice I probably ever made, to be like, you know what, I'm gonna stick this out no matter what. Like win, lose, or draw, I'm gonna see this to the end, and that's it. And I feel like making that decision was the best decision.
I'm extremely passionate about helping corporate professionals transition into entrepreneurship. So I had to share the number one thing that helped me develop as an entrepreneur, and that's the morning meetup. I joined the morning meetup specifically for the structure because I'm leaving corporate America, so I'm used to those morning huddles. We got our sales, we know what our goals are, and we get our day started. So I was missing that for 2 years before I even found the morning meetup. Now, the second thing that I really benefited from was the revenue. Revenue generating activities was not necessarily a thing before 2021. Now, I had my LLC, I had my website, I had a few clients here and there, but the momentum really took off as soon as I got around like-minded individuals and people who really knew the struggles that I was already dealing with, that I could get over my fear of sales and communicating my value and putting myself out there on social media. The friends that I've developed, the mentors and the mentees that I've created relationships with, everything has really created this environment for us to thrive as entrepreneurs. So if you want to develop as an entrepreneur, you're leaving corporate America and you're trying to figure out how do I get my footing in entrepreneurship, then the morning meetup will definitely be a game changer for you. You can learn with us, you can grow with us. And I didn't even mention that we have a book club. Join us in the community. Let's get started today. You will not regret it. Welcome to another episode of the Work and Play Podcast. I'm your host, Ariel Young, and today we have a pretty cool cat. I can actually say, like, you actually have a pretty cool vibe. I'm curious to get into your story. Mr. TK James, would you like to take it away?
Thank you for having me. It's truly a pleasure. I think that's the Sagittarius vibe that you're getting. Sagittarius recognize Sag.
Facts.
But yeah, TK James, entrepreneur. Marketing is my background, but right now I'm co-owner to a security company, as well as travel culture, which I think is something that I really want us to kind of get involved with or talk about. It's a passion project, but it's something that means a lot to me, and I think it could really make a difference in people's lives.
Yeah, absolutely. I think just from hearing a little bit about the travel aspect of life and knowing that some people don't get a chance to see anything outside of what their community looks like, I think even in that aspect, it can definitely change some lives, some perspectives, some mindsets, and think a little bigger, all of that.
Yeah, I mean, it truly made a difference for me. And I guess it wasn't until I became an adult and tapped into what traveling truly meant to me that I realized, even as a kid, it was already changing me, shaping my mind and my outlook on the world. So I want to give back and give somebody else that opportunity to do the same.
So it's your passion project right now. So does that mean you haven't yet started monetizing on it? Tell us a little bit more about it.
Yeah, so I haven't started monetizing on it at all yet. We're just kind of in the build out phase. So working on the site, working on the concept, trying to actually lock in exactly what travel culture is going to be.
Okay.
And trying to utilize our outlets. I want to make it a very inclusive project. So reaching out to other fellow travelers who, might have a little extra time and do eventually want to monetize on it. But for now, it's just kind of giving the game away, trying to let people know how to do it inexpensively, give reviews on products, observations of what they've seen when they've traveled to these different parts of the world. And not even just the world, I mean, here in America as well. There's a lot of beauty here that I think people tend to run from and try to, Instagram, let me go to Seychelles and everywhere. It's like, go see Mount Rushmore or something and tell me about it. I haven't been.
That's actually a really good point. I used to work for the airline, so I think my mind went, I need to go as far as I can, as many far places as I can. And I was, yes, very much so. Wanted to collect the passport stamps. And so I spent 24 hours in Argentina one time.
Yeah, just
to breathe the air, see what it looked like. Yeah. But you know what it did for me, though?
it really did remove a lot of that FOMO that a lot of people have. I think now that I've been to these places, I'm less like likely to not waste, but spend money on places that I'm more so just curious about, as opposed to places that I really want to go and enjoy the people,
Correct.
enjoy the culture. So like I've never been one to go to like Ireland and things like that.
You're like,
I was like, I might as well go while I got, the benefits. So what you're explaining sounds a little bit like travel noir mixed with TripAdvisor, mixed with like a community aspect of it.
Yeah, community aspect for sure. And I think a big part of it is going to be teaching people how to travel, especially like, because a lot of times the response I get is people, they assume that it's so expensive, right, to go to these places, or just to leave Atlanta. They have a dollar amount associated with that trip, which it does cost some money. It's not free, but it doesn't have to be as expensive. Like I've traveled around the globe, and I pride myself on finding these deals. So I mean, round trip from here to Hawaii, I went to Maui. It was $236. I won't mention the airline, but yeah, it was $236 on a great airline.
Okay.
Round trip, you can't beat that.
Round trip to Maui.
Yeah.
Oh,
from
that's
Atlanta.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like you can't.
So what's your deal? Do you look more long term? Do you know where to go, what the highs and lows are?
And people, they ask me all the time, like, yo, do you have a buddy pass or something?
Yeah.
No. I book a lot of last minute flights. I just have a technique that seems to work as far as finding these flights. And I will 100% give that away for free. I just would like you to go to Travel Culture to get it.
So it's not just Travel Noir, the community TripAdvisor. It's also an education piece.
Correct.
Which I think our community needs the most.
That's the biggest part of it. That's the backbone of Travel Culture.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
So now we have to get into like the mind of this person who can put something like that together, because I'm sure it's many life experiences that came together all in one to combine this idea. So where was the impetus of this idea?
You know what? Honestly, it was something I had thought about before, because once again, just thinking about what travel has done for me, but did for me as a kid as well, and kind of realizing that as an adult. It was maybe going on 2 years ago. I was having a conversation with my cousin, and he is he's 36 now. Had never been on an airplane, so that kind of bothered me, or it did bother me.
Yeah.
But it was also, I sat there and I spoke to him about his reasons why, and he had some different reasons. But I was like, yeah, listen, it was actually his birthday month, and I'm like, hey man, I'm going to Miami. I'm at the airport now. I'm gonna book your flight. All you have to do is make it to the airport, and then come to Miami. Everything's taken care of. And I was like a parent almost. Like, I mean, he didn't need it, but I'm like, hey man, are you okay? Like, where you at now? Did you get through security?
Yeah.
Like, first time, going through the airport, and Hartsfield is a
Pretty
big airport, yeah. But I think that kind of, and then I saw the joy he received from just being in Miami and being on a flight for the first time and experiencing that. And I was like, it's too many adults that I do know that grew up around my way that have not traveled. And I feel like just having those conversations, I can see the difference in the mindset versus the people I know in my life who have traveled and seen different things and experienced different cultures and food and everything else versus those that haven't. So I want to extend that opportunity as much as possible. And so I guess the big part of Travel Culture is that we use the funds, or we'll be using those funds to sponsor trips for individuals who haven't had that opportunity.
And that's at the core of how you even started the business.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. That's really cool. So walk us through, like, when you grew up, where did you grow up?
I grew up on the south side of Atlanta, Clayton County, Morrow.
Clayco?
Forest Park. Yeah.
Are you serious?
Clayco.
I would never have
Yeah,
imagined.
I'm a Clayco baby, yeah.
Okay. Did you go, so you went to Morrow High School?
Morrow High. I went to Morrow and Forest Park Middle, and then Morrow High.
Okay. So what was it like growing up on the south side?
Well, coming from Germany, like coming back from Germany, it was
You got to give us a little bit of, you coming back from Germany?
Yeah, so I was born here. Once again, my pops was in the military, so he ended up getting some orders for Germany. So I stayed in Heidelberg and Darmstadt for about 4 years. Moved back here once he was ready to retire, and started a new life here. And it was just a culture shock coming, because those were like 4 core years of my life. And then coming back to the South Side. My first memory, I'll never forget this, when we got off the airplane, we were on the way to our house, and I'm in the back of we had a minivan at this time, right? And I see this dude driving in like a Regal or something, but his seat was, like, he's in the driver's seat, but I can see his head in the back seat. And I'm sitting there looking out the window like, what? I'm like, Dad, why is his head in the back seat? He's like, just how it is around here. You'll get used to it. You fast forward like 3 years later or something, like everybody around me, it's normal. Mm-hmm. That's just what it was. But it was a great time. I wouldn't trade that upbringing for anything, man. It taught me a lot. Well-rounded, I think, at the end of the day. Yeah, I had a great time.
I got you. So when you were growing up, what was instilled in you in terms of career-wise? Did you know what you wanted to go to school for? Were you like, I'm going to school? What was your mindset at that time?
My dad was really heavy on us having higher education because he was dropout, pretty much illiterate, went to end up going in the military. Mm-hmm. And when he got out, his big thing was like he wanted to go to college. So he ended up going and getting his degree from DeVry University and computer and CIS. Okay. And then from there, he was able to, before that we were piss poor, he was able to build a life off of that. And I could literally tell you when the change happened. It was like night and day, yeah.
So you saw him going to school, and it wasn't online, I'm sure at that time. It was in
person. So yeah, he was working crazy jobs, go to school, work at night, do whatever he had to do and he was a single parent with raising 3 boys.
Yeah. The top 3 responses that I get when I ask, why do you want to leave corporate America, are that you want financial freedom, you want to own your own time, and you want to build a legacy for this generation and generations to come. Now, this is not a solo job. In order to transition from your 9 to 5 into entrepreneurship, it's going to take community and it's going to take resources. And I've created the community of pioneers who are going to wrap around you and help you make that transition successfully. So if you're interested in leaving your job, go ahead and click that information below. Let's get into the community and let's transition from your 9 to 5 into entrepreneurship successfully. Now let's get back to the episode.
So when you look back at that time, I remember there were times where my mom was studying for H&R Block, right? And I'm in the back with my little Subway, just like, I guess this is how life is supposed to be. Yeah. When you look at your dad going to school and then his life changing, what kind of philosophy was instilled in you? Do you feel like you learned anything about education or the value of it or any of that?
I think I was always just a pretty sharp kid. And I had a knack for learning. Like, I always wanted to learn. I enjoy, to this day, learning new things and being knowledgeable. But I think seeing him do that just taught me that it was possible. I knew some of my dad's upbringing, but it just taught me that, anything is possible if you put in the work.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
How old were you during this time?
I was middle school.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Young enough to still kind of be counting on dad, and then old enough to see dad growing as a man. And right around those years, you're becoming a man, so to speak, right?
Trying to. Yeah.
So did you know what you wanted to do at that age? What were you pretty good at?
Honestly, I was good at math. And I thought that I wanted to be. So I ended up getting an orthodontist after that switch happened, right, when the money started coming in. And Dr. Bernstein, still remember his name to this day. I remember going to his office and he had like all these pictures on his wall of him and his family like traveling all over the world, and he had like 2 infinities outside and all that stuff. And I'm like, I want this life, right? And I know I was sharp at math and everything, so I was like, I'm going pre-med. I'm going to college. I'm going pre-med. And went to college, and that first year changed from pre-med.
OChem. Was it OChem?
I don't know.
Okay. I feel like that's everybody's turning point.
I listen. After I started seeing my grades plummet, and I knew it was time for me to make a change. Yeah. And I ended up taking a break and trying to figure out, exactly what I wanted to do. And I think I ended up figuring that out.
You took a break.
Yeah.
So at the time where your grades weren't like, up to par, right? Mm-hmm. You're thinking, one, this major is not for me. But then why? How was this? You make it sound like such an easy decision to take a break.
No, it wasn't. Because once again, I was used to making like straight A's. So,
Okay.
And I prided myself on that. So when I wasn't making those grades, I'm like, something's not right. And it wasn't the work. It was me.
What's going on?
New freedoms, new money, because we were always making, trying to make money. And, I think I just got caught up, and I needed to take that step back before I completely blew everything. But I didn't know what I wanted to do. I think I wanted to do that for the wrong reasons. I didn't know my why.
That's a really good way to put it.
Yeah, so looking back, I wanted to do that because I thought I wanted that money that he had and, that lifestyle. But it wasn't for me. That wasn't my avenue, should I say, or my route.
Absolutely. One of the things that you just said that stuck out to me was you wanted to make money, right? To me, that sounds a bit entrepreneurial because from my perspective, when I was in school, I've had a job since like 14, right?
Same, yeah.
So I was definitely for the money kind of thing. Like I knew if I put work in, I'm going to get a check, but I wasn't very entrepreneurial. So when you said I was all about money, what do you mean by that?
I feel like any success story, people I know personally or don't know or read about, the money shouldn't be the driving factor.
Facts.
Yeah, because when it is, you're always going to go astray.
Wow.
So, and I hate to admit it, but I went to a Tony Robbins seminar some years back.
Why do you hate to admit that?
Because it's like, one of those cliche things, but I did. And he was talking about why, tapping into what your why is. And at first, they have you jot down all this stuff, and I'm doing like all this surface level things. Once again, money, stability, blah, blah, blah. And then they're like, okay, take all of those, ball them up, throw them away. Like, we want you to really tap into why you want to be an entrepreneur, why you want to be, a CEO, why you want to be this, or whatever it was. And so once I did that truly, everything just started to make sense. And that was actually, I think, the year that I became an entrepreneur.
Okay. So, setting the scene, you're in college, you take a break. You said you found your why.
I took a break.
Uh-huh.
I found something that I liked, which was marketing.
Okay. How did you find out you liked marketing outside of school?
So, promotional marketing.
Okay.
Started liking that, and then had the opportunity to intern with Ciroc. So once I got back in school, I interned with them. And it was a great time, like just being around these successful figures, in these meetings. Of course, not being able to say a word, but, just listening in. It was very intriguing. And so, I figured out that I did like that avenue. It was something I was good at. I was a very personable person.
Yeah.
I like talking. So it was like networking was a major part of it, the gift to gab. And it was something that I took for granted for many years until people were like, dude, like, I'll pay you to go handle this meeting for me, or like, to promote this party, or go set this up for me. So I started tapping into that. And then once I got back in school, I actually did criminal justice and marketing. And it paid off. Look what fields I'm in. I'm actually, without me even knowing the path at that point, right?
Facts.
The criminal justice part was pretty much like, I need to get out of school. Like, I got to get out of here. And I ended up with a security company, which is right along the lines. And, being involved in other business ventures. So
that is so cool. I don't even know where to start because I'm curious about so much.
Yeah.
Now, when you said you were interning at Ciroc, which is a wonderful opportunity, right? Of course, being exposed to people who are successful is a given.
Yeah.
But the skill sets of being a promo, like a person who's like seen as a valuable asset, like, hey, I'll pay you to promo. What type of skill sets were you developing in that internship that set you apart from just like your average intern sitting in the room super quiet?
I mean, I feel like I was me through and through, But once again, well, for one, building those relationships, right?
Got it.
Taking it beyond just, hey, how you doing, or whatever, like talking. Once again, the gift of gab, and genuinely making people feel comfortable, and that's when people are like, oh, you need to utilize this. I'm like, well, I'm not trying to take advantage of people. I'm just being myself. But yeah, it was building those relationships, man, where people are like, why would I go over here and let this person do it when I know you can do it and I like you? So here you go.
Got it. So it was relationships.
Yeah, 100%.
The skill set that you were building, what would you say it was from a technical standpoint? Like, if you're going to do promo, you have to know this.
For one, your numbers.
Okay.
Yeah, and I mean, going into like, if you're bringing somebody in, like how much are they charging you to come in? Door costs, your buyback at the bar, or your percentage that you're getting from the bar. Like, you really got to know that stuff. And I messed up plenty of times starting off, where there wasn't a clear cut, get everything in paper, where it wasn't like, clear cut understanding of what we were doing. And it's like, you can't do handshake deals with everybody as well. So yeah, we got burnt, and we learned and were able to make something successful, I think.
Did you have did you have more burn moments before you started to do it, like as a entrepreneur, or did you start learning more when people were like, hey, I want you to do this for me, or you learning on their dime?
I wish I would have learned more on their dime. That's always a better way to do it.
Facts.
Through all business, even now. But yeah, no, I think it was more so our dime, or I think like more reward with more like, what is it? Opportunity? No risk, no reward.
No risk, no reward.
Yeah. So the more risk, the more reward, possible.
Yeah.
So I look at it like it's like an independent artist. They got to put up their own money in most cases, but they can make a lot more. So yeah, I think it was once we started doing that when we learned those valuable lessons. Because before then, it's just cutting anybody's check. It's easy, It's like, it's not your money.
Yeah.
You don't really pick up on the lessons.
That's
They're
facts.
picking up on the lessons.
That's facts. I think that's such a good point. If your dollar is not tied to that experience, you might not necessarily get the lesson that you thought.
Which is like a main thing in, I think, any deal, entrepreneur-wise. Like, people want to know, it calls skin in the game, right?
Yeah.
What are you putting up for me to want to put my money into this deal as well?
Facts.
So that's like, 101.
Yeah. So we know later, because you gave us a bit of a spoiler, you found yourself at a Tony Robbins conference. So tell us a little bit about your experience while you were in marketing. So when you graduated, did you go back to Ciroc?
No, I actually went to Coca-Cola.
Okay.
And then the construction, Peachtree Restorations. What's up, MJ? And then from there on to Top Flight.
Okay, got it. In Top Flight, what does Top Flight do?
Security.
Oh, gotcha. That's the name of your
world.
company. Of the world, Craig. That is so. When I found that, I was like, "This is a super funny." You can tell you already have like this dope personality. I was like, "Top Flight Security of the world, Craig."
Yeah, it works.
Yeah, absolutely, it does. So when was it in your career where you said, "Okay, I need to find my why"?
Up until Tony, I thought I knew my why. I mean, to be honest, I knew I was in something that I liked, but I feel like I wasn't reaching my heights because I didn't have anything to reach for. Like, I was reaching for the wrong things. So once I figured out what I needed to reach for, or what truly drove me, everything else just started kind of falling in line. It was like a domino effect, I promise you. Like, deals started coming across the table, opportunities, should I say. And that's what woke me up every day. Because when you're an entrepreneur, like, if you don't work, I mean, for most of us, if you don't work, you're not getting paid. Like, especially starting off.
Facts.
You got to get up and grind every day to get that check, man. So, to survive. But I feel like the why, or your reason, is what wakes you up in the morning and keeps you awake at night, and keeps you going.
Facts. So what was your choice? Okay, it was Coca-Cola, then the construction business, and then Top Flight. When was the time where you decided, okay, I want to go into entrepreneurship?
I feel like that was something, well, let me think back. Probably during my promotion days, because I love the flexibility of it, that having my time, and also being able to, I won't call it having a living, but, make some money. So I think the biggest thing for me at that point was like the time. And once I had that and then got it taken away, it was like, I got to figure this out some way, somehow. Because the flexibility for me is everything.
So it was the fact that, okay, you had this fun promo job. You're like, okay, I can do this. This is cool. Then you go into the workforce. The workforce shows you like, hey, we got 9 to 5, we got bosses, we got structure, like all of this stuff.
I've never been one for like, I can't even say authority, but I don't know. Like, I just prefer the freedom. I'm a Sag. What can I say?
I am too, which is why I resonate with that authority thing. But when you think about your role in corporate, my question is like, would you say out of all the things that you did, were you good at it? Like, was it your strength?
I actually once I moved like actual corporate, I truly enjoyed it. And I say I learned a lot from going corporate. I think it's a great experience for anybody.
Yeah.
It taught me about how a business runs, like, the structure of a company.
Yes.
The tiers, the way the processes should happen. So I don't take anything away from any corporate job, whatever job you have. I just know it wasn't for me, but I did learn a lot from it. So every job I've worked back from when I was bagging groceries at 14 or something, I've always taken something from it. And I've always taken pride in every position I've held. Ice cream scooper, uniform is on point. Like I'm trying to get off the scale so I can serve people quicker. It's just a level of pride in whatever you have going on. I think that resonates.
Yeah, I was actually at a restaurant the other day, and the servers were like, it's just very inattentive. And I remember, like, I was not this type of employee.
I was killing the game.
I was such a, like, attentive, like, it didn't matter what my role was. Like you said, ice cream scooper, you're
just take some pride in it.
Yeah.
I think it goes a long way.
It really does. I would say the work ethic for me probably came from, I don't know, the desire to make people feel good, because I can't necessarily say I got it from watching people working around like adults.
Yeah.
It was more like an innate thing.
Yeah.
So, like, did you get the value of, like, working hard from Dad? What would you say? Yeah.
Yeah. He was military, man.
Yeah.
So, like, we're up on the weekends early, like, cutting the yard. Nobody leave the house until the yard is cut, edged, raked up, bagged up, the whole nine. Like, clean house. I mean, it was 4 males. So he's very particular about keeping the house clean and everything up. And I think at the time, of course, I'm like, man, it's some BS. But now, as an adult, I know for sure he some good values were instilled at that time. Even now, like, you come over to my house and it's like, it's clean.
Everything is in order.
Yeah, I love order. But with that kind. But it's just clean though, and it's I've had so many, women come out and like, yo, your house is like pristine, man. Pops, But I think work ethic wise, he instilled a lot of that into us back then. Yeah, and teaching us to like want our own and like not take the short route. He always said, pay your dues up front.
Yeah.
Something that stuck with me to this day.
I got you. Okay. So life kind of gets interesting for most people when they become an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Right? But because travel it's kind of always been a part of your life, when would you say like you started to value travel a little bit more? Was it when you were in corporate? Did you travel regularly? Because I know sometimes the salary really allows us to do that kind of stuff.
So, I mean, during like college years, intern years, those first couple of positions, like there was very minimum travel. And that was just, maybe to go to Memphis and visit my grandma and stuff like that, but not like travel.
Yeah.
And I think not being able to, for multiple reasons, Finances being one of them for sure. Once I was able to, it was like, oh yeah, I'm back on it. But I think having that break there is a time. Once I was able to again, that's when I realized how much it meant, because I started finding like my comfortable place. Like in the airplane, I'm one of the most creative minds ever. Like that's where I come up with most of my ideas, ventures, like structures, everything. Like on airplane with my headphones on, and I don't know, it's just kind of like my little cocoon.
Yeah.
And I love it. So once I realized that, I just started doing it a lot more because I can't think on the ground.
When was the first trip that you took? Like, was it solo? Did you go with friends as an adult?
Ooh, as an adult, wow, that's a lot of flights ago. I can't even remember, honestly.
You can't think of it? I feel like, because you came to Atlanta from Germany, it's kind of like the flight experience being a bit desensitized. I feel like for me, I didn't feel like an adult until I traveled solo for the first time. I was like, oh, I'm picking my own hotel. I know where I'm going.
Yeah.
Like, I think, and even in college, everything was road trips,
Yeah.
So my first flight as an adult, when I think about it, I feel like it was, as a solo adult, it probably was sometime when I worked at an airline. And I just feel like my first trip might have been actually Argentina.
Wow.
Right? Like my first solo trip with a homegirl.
Yeah.
I didn't even know her that well.
Yeah, you're just like, let's catch this flight.
Because we got benefits. But like
Perfect.
when you think back, even if it's not your first flight, but your most memorable trip, which one was it?
Most memorable. Probably South Africa.
Oh.
Yeah, that was a big one. And it was going to be like my solo trip, like just me. And last minute, one of my friends
Came.
Yeah, he had benefits.
That's a sad thing. I feel like that's such a sad thing.
Oh,
There's
for
so many
sure.
times I'm like, oh, I'm gonna do this by myself.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah, come on, you wanna come? Just come
Like,
through.
Yeah,
no
if
problem.
you make it, like by all means, join.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was a big one. We went over there for like 7 or 8 days. Yeah, and I mean just like exploring, because it's, you hear different things about places, and then you're like, all right, well, kind of nervous or whatnot. But once you get there, you see that's usually not the case. That media portrays for a lot of these places.
What made you choose South Africa?
That is a really deep story.
Hey, I love stories.
So my father went missing. He was missing for about 3 months, I think, at that time. And they wouldn't file any reports without somebody going and actually doing it in person. So communication with the embassy and everything else. Long story short, I had to go over there to like handle paperwork and, try to find them.
You didn't have to give me the abridged version unless you wanted to give me a abridged version, because at this time, your dad's in South Africa.
Yeah.
And you're living in Atlanta.
Yes.
What was your dad doing in South Africa?
That's where I got my travel bug from. This guy traveled year round. Like once he made his money and he retired and everything else, and he had been all over the globe, but he was doing 8 months, I think was his plan. 8 months in Africa. So just traveling all over Africa. South Africa was his first stop. Yeah. So then he's supposed to move around. But unfortunately, he passed while he was there. So it was just it was a lot at that point. It was so much to deal with. And that was like, once again, time-wise, probably another factor, but like as soon as I got back, I was probably with the construction company for another like 2 months maybe.
Got it.
Yeah.
I think it all makes sense now. It's like when we're faced with the reality that like we're all on a timeline here.
Yes.
That's when you started to realize, okay, I got to do something with this thing called a life.
Correct. Yeah, like a lot of things just stopped mattering so much.
What would you say at that time? What did matter to you?
You know what? The biggest thing I believe was trying to trying to make him happy or make him proud. And once that person is gone, it's like, what else do you tap into?
You had to find something else.
There you go. Self,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Or my why, should I say. And my why, I can put it out there, is helping other people. Like, I enjoy being able to provide opportunities. And it's me and my business partners. We all feel the same way. But being able to provide opportunity, legacy, you know, build something great that other people can also build off of. So, yeah.
When you were trying to make your dad proud, and I want to say, like, I feel for you in that story.
Oh, yeah, no, it's all good.
When you say, like, you wanted to make him proud, what were some of the things that you thought he valued, and how was that leading your life at the time?
Oh, I think, well, education for one.
Okay.
But more so just for all of us, me and my siblings, he just wanted everybody to be comfortable, you know, like to be good on their own, like in their own space and everything else. I think outside of that, he would have been fine. I'm sure he was proud already, but he was good with whatever.
Hey guys, it's Ariel from the Work and Play podcast. If you're getting any value from this channel, and I mean anything from the tutorials to the podcast to the random videos that you see on this channel, then I just ask that you do one thing. Please subscribe. Subscribe and share this to anyone that you think this resonates with, and drop a comment below so I know what other things that you want to see next. Now let's get back to the episode.
It's just more so, you know, you're like, oh no, I gotta show him this, or like, you know, let me take him on a trip out here to, you know, I don't know, Australia or somewhere, you know, things like that. It was just it's something you tap into. Yeah.
Your internal motivations of like wanting to like just show him, hey, this is what my success looks like. Show him the fruits of your labor.
Yeah, more so like a thank you, like thank you for, you know, sacrificing all those years for us when you didn't date anybody, you know, like and all you did was work and go to school and things like that. So more so just like the fruits of your labor have paid off.
Got it.
Yeah.
I got you. Okay, so things shift. You said you were at the construction company for about 2 years. 2 months.
Once I got back.
Yeah. Once you got back.
Uh-huh.
And so in your mind, were you like, okay, I got to make a change, or what was going on in your mind at the time?
I don't even know if I was truly able to. I just knew that that wasn't it. Like, I knew that, for one, I wasn't in the right mind space or head space to give them what they needed, you know, which is, once again, I know the owner is one of my good friends. So not to be selfish, but I needed that time, and everything started to align like during that time frame. Everything literally just started to make sense. But I don't think it was anything that I was literally like, all right, I'm done with this and I'm going straight into this.
Yeah.
Opportunity just kind of was like, all right,
okay,
this is it.
Yeah. Sometimes, a lot of times in that period, intuition plays a huge role.
Correct.
In like where we get to, because here you have the security company. I mean, it wasn't like, I'm going to go stop from doing construction and go to security.
Right.
Everything kind of lends itself to like following that intuition. So like, what were some of the things or the first things or that you explored that, you know, you just kind of like were exploring to see like, hey, well, what
like as an entrepreneur?
Yeah.
Pocket squares was one of them.
Really?
Yeah.
The one?
J. Carl pocket squares.
Nice.
Yeah, and once again, but it was for a good reason. And honestly, I feel like if I had dove into it, it would have been a fruitful business, I believe. Like, because I was building good traction and stuff, but once again, it wasn't.
Right.
You know.
You're exploring.
Right.
So the first one was pocket squares. Were there others?
I'm sure there were many. The marketing company, which I still have, actually, does decent. Yeah, I don't know. The squares pops out to me, I guess.
Got you.
Yeah.
Like, what was the, what did you say? Like, okay, you're looking at a J. Crew magazine and you're like,
nah, I remember everything. So it was, I had an event to go to and I needed a square, right?
Okay.
So I went to like 3 stores and they didn't have anything that I thought, like, I liked, you know, like anything I thought was going to like make a statement. Everything was so like standard across the board. It was just, you know, your blues, your greens, your whatever, like, and they all had the same simple prints. And I'm like, man, I want some funky shit. You know, I want something that's gonna stand out on its own because I don't want to do a tie. I just want the square to do the talking for me.
Yeah.
And spoke to a couple more of my buddies. They're like, yeah, dude, like I feel the same way. So I just started going in the fabric store and finding some fabrics that I liked that were different, cheetah print, you know, zebras, all kinds of stuff, making them and selling them to the homies, and they started building. I didn't continue. So don't anybody steal that idea. I might come back with it later.
Listen, if you ever wanted to, would you consider yourself a the word is serial entrepreneur?
I'm not gonna put myself in that lane. I would hope to be.
Yeah.
Eventually, yeah.
Got it. So by the time you like retire somewhere on some nice beach somewhere, you'll have.
Yeah, by the time I might open a restaurant or something. I enjoy cooking, so something that I can manage and just go in and cook when I want.
Yeah.
And open up on those days and close on other days.
This exploration phase is actually really important to like dig into. And you say you were interested in, or you like cooking, you enjoy cooking.
Yeah.
Had you ever thought about creating a business off of like your passion for cooking?
I have. Time is of the essence right now. You know, it's the one thing that we don't have the most of. You know. So yeah, eventually I would love to, but at this moment, I'm pretty much tapped.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah.
Was it at the Tony Robbins event that you got clear on travel culture?
No. Traveling at that, I was traveling for work a lot, so that travel, and not I was traveling for work a lot, but for their work, you know.
Mm-hmm. So a lot different.
Yeah, exactly. So while of course I enjoyed being on planes and stuff still, and you know seeing different things and tapping in, it wasn't the same. Like I didn't view it in the way I view travel at this moment. Travel culture was probably, I think, birthed maybe 2 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, like 2 years ago. And it was weird because it started off as a logo. Yeah, I was like just jotting, and I was like, man, this actually looks pretty good. Mm-hmm. And then sent it to a friend, and she was like, what do you want to do with it? I was like, something with travel, because the logo had a plane on it. And I was like, maybe travel culture? And she's like, yeah, like
bingo.
Yeah, I was like, bet. And then we just started kind of like brainstorming from there. But I knew I wanted it to be like more so on the nonprofit side of things. And the monetization from that is really just to provide, you know, those sponsorships, those trips or whatnot.
Got you.
And take care of the people who are, you know, dedicating their time, of course.
Okay. So for timeline's sake, how long have you been like a full-time entrepreneur?
4 years.
4 years. And so that gives us 2000.
Like 17.
17, where you left the corporate.
Mm-hmm.
The first idea was really just to like somewhat find yourself and explore what entrepreneurship had for you, or was it just explore yourself?
Self, I guess, more so than anything.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a test, right? A lot of it is a test. Like, because I feel like the only reason that didn't survive or didn't make it is because I didn't put my all into it.
Right.
It's the same way with any of these other businesses that you get involved in. It's usually the one with whoever can hold their breath the longest, for the most part, will come out on top. You know, they win the race. So, with that being said, it was really just the holdback was me. And once we got tapped into top flight, it was like we had plenty of opportunity. Like, it was a rough start, man. Like, I mean, rough. But we've had plenty of opportunity to throw in the towel. And, you know, we just chose not to. I'm religious, so prayed about it. And I made a choice. That was the biggest choice I probably ever made, to be like, you know what? I'm going to stick this out no matter what. Like, win, lose, or draw. I'm going to see this to the end, and that's it. And I feel like making that decision was the best decision.
Just because, one, you wanted to see what you were made of. Two, you wanted to see something to completion. Were you super passionate about, or are you super passionate about, like, the security aspect of it?
Yeah, I'm passionate about changing the security industry. And we have our ideas and everything, but I'm also passionate about business in general. So my business partner is the security expert. He has a crazy background in security, and so it works because he knows what he knows, and I know what I know. So it's a symbiotic relationship. Yeah, but yeah, I get excited about like, oh man, this is gonna kill the game when I introduce this to him. Like, we're working on some things right now, because it's really, to me, it's like an older industry. It's ran by older individuals. So with technology, we were able to implement some new ideas that I feel like are gonna take us to another level.
That's pretty cool. I hadn't thought about the advantages of technology in that space. Where my mind initially goes when I think of security actually was when a time when I spent a year working in a shelter for homeless people or for young people experiencing homelessness. And I think a lot of security roles are like low barrier.
Yeah.
So it always provided that opportunity for young people to go ahead and get their foot in the door with nice wages. Like, I think
So that's our purpose behind Top Flight.
Is it?
Yeah, providing opportunity. Like, we know what the position entails or what people think about the position, but that's the backbone of it. That's the reason we started. That's the reason we're like, you know what, we're gonna do this because we come from those backgrounds.
Yeah, absolutely. Are majority of your staff, are they young people?
Most of them are younger to middle age.
What does the training look like for your process? Like your training process?
You have to talk to Quentin.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's all him.
I got you. But from like a high level perspective,
Yeah.
do you know like if it's like 8 weeks of training or?
Yeah, so I have it all down in that lovely document that I send out to all of our potential property. It's usually like a 30-day training.
Okay.
30-day training, and they train with him because he is certified as an instructor. Mm-hmm. So, but I couldn't tell you exactly what that entails.
I got you.
Yeah.
When you think about the outcomes of a lot of your employees, do you know whether they're in it to be in the police academy next, or is it because?
No,
go
sorry,
ahead.
no.
Or I'm gonna say, is it because that they want to use security as a stepping stone to get into like the music industry or something? I feel like those are common.
I think it varies. We have had individuals come through and go and be APD and things of that nature, but we also have individuals who want to open up their own security companies, and those people I work hand in hand with them. Like, I'll show them how to get the. Now, I always try to get all of our employees to open up a LLC because they're contractors, right? So they're able to write off all those things if they just pay that $100 with the state and get their business going, So it's different. Some people have the mindset and they want that growth, and other individuals just want to get a check and, go on about their business.
That's amazing. I like how you talk about it. So you guys have a certain level of education within the.
Yeah, anytime we have I have not a training, but like our meetings or whatever, our monthly meetings, I tell everybody, like, look, I'm not going to force you or come to you for this, but if you want to come to me, the door's open.
How many people take that offer?
Not many. You'll be surprised.
I think that's the sucky part about. Yeah. So this lends itself to travel culture, right? Mm-hmm. We're trying to educate people on an experience that they have not yet started to embrace yet.
Correct.
They don't necessarily feel like they're missing out on anything because they haven't experienced it yet.
Yeah.
So we're trying to get them to understand the value of getting the LLC, financial literacy, right? And I think that same mindset shift is going to be necessary for people who don't know about travel.
Yeah, I think I'm hoping that one of the major reasons is just financial. So I'm hoping that if we're providing you with the financial means and you have this lovely guide, i.e. me or somebody, to show you around this place, then it kind of takes away from or it makes it a lot easier to make that decision. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm hoping. We'll see.
Who would you say?
If somebody offers me a free trip, I'm out of here, like, by all means.
Right, but when I think back to your earlier lesson, which is like, when you learn on your own dime, you learn the lesson.
Yeah.
If you learn on somebody else's dime, they learn the lesson.
Yeah.
So when and I'm really curious about like how we think around the mental transformation that a person could experience. Are you going for people who right? You said it's going to be a financial barrier, right? But is it also a cultural barrier where you're trying to get them to value travel and then trying to get them to value finances, which is a whole mindset shift?
So travel culture, I can't say that we are going to be trying to teach the financial freedom and things of that nature, right? It's more so the cultural experience, right? Taking it all in. But I feel like I'm hoping, once again, it hasn't been tested yet, but having that guide with you, kind of like when you see, if you ever watch Anthony Bourdain, right? When he goes to different places and he has somebody from that area or somebody very familiar with that area to actually help him dive into the culture of the place, you know, and know what's going on. That is kind of what gets you thinking. Not just to go in and like, oh, let me snap a photo over here or let me see this monument. Like, what's the history on that monument?
Yes.
You know, like, do you know the reason why that's so significant? So it's kind of, I'm hoping that is the way that we be able to change a few minds. And then we won't change everybody, but, you know, if we can make a little bit of a difference, that would mean a lot to me.
Even in one person.
Right.
I'm thinking about, and, you know, sometimes you just have, like, if you thought through this much of the business, let's spitball. But I love spitball conversations because it sounds like when we're in a nonprofit sense, if we're trying to change mindsets, and a part of the application process is like, what are you curious about learning? Because if they already lead with a curiosity to learn, okay, let's say we're going to Ghana.
Yeah.
And it's not just about like, I want to go like party in Africa. It's like, I want to learn about the Elmina castles. Or I want to go learn about, you know, slavery before it happened. Whatever the person is already curious about can give you a sense of, are they ready to, right.
But that's the thing. I don't want it to be dry. Like, I like to party, especially out of town. I don't party in town. But yeah, when I travel, that's part of the culture, right? Yeah. I want to experience that as well.
That's fact.
So I don't want it to be just so stuffy or dry that we're like, oh, I'm just going on this field trip. No, it's not a field trip. It's a cultural learning experience, but we're going to tap into everything. The food, the education of it, the party of it, like whatever that, if the party isn't part of it, of that culture, then we're not going to do it. But whatever is available, like that's what we are trying to embody. And I hope that when you do travel, you take that into consideration. Like, all of that is part of a culture. Ibiza is a gorgeous place. They're known for partying, right? But I'm sure they have great food, great history, and the whole nine as well. So, get a little bit of everything.
Absolutely. Did you have, I might be much more structured in my thinking, because sometimes I would be, if I were going to a new location, this was actually a thing of mine for a while. If I was going to a new location, I would look up Black history in that place.
Yeah.
And
there's a lot of it all over.
It's all over. Like, I went to Amsterdam and I researched like Black history in Amsterdam. I found a Black history tour.
Wow.
I literally did. So like, do you have like criteria for like, I want to go to these places because of these things?
I think no, I can't say I do. Sometimes. Very few times. Like, I travel so last minute most of the time, man. Like, I have been in the flight booking my hotel as I land. Or, like, I'm in the airport and they're like, hey, you got to put down your location, you know, like where you're staying at on your visa. Been in London, started snowing, flew to Madrid. You know, stuff like that. So, it's like, I don't know where I'm going all the time. But I know I can find this stuff. Like, I can find culture. I don't have to do that in advance. I could use my phone right there and be like, all right, where am I going to go today? What's there to see? You know, I was in South Africa on my bed. I'm like, you know what? I think I want to go see a museum today. And went to the Mandela Museum. You know, stuff like that. It doesn't have to be so mapped out, which I do enjoy. I mean, I appreciate people who can do that for real. Whenever I go on group trips and have everything laid out, I'm like, perfect. I don't have to do much, but show up. But yeah, I think my idea of traveling is a little bit different, but it also has taught me to let go of so much of the anxiety I think that comes with traveling. With some people, if they don't have that structure and everything else in advance, and it's like, whoa,
Yeah.
you know, and it doesn't have to be that. So when things don't go right, I'm usually okay with it because that anxiety is like, I done already experienced all this stuff before. Like, what else you got? You know?
Yeah. I love it. I mean, I'm actually similar. I think through a lot of what could possibly happen, and then when I get there, I'm like, let's just do whatever.
Yeah.
Because
like,
now you know all the opportunities that exist.
Exactly.
You got to. I love it. So this is really cool in the sense that it's the other side of spontaneous travel that I didn't get a chance to live. Well, not yet, because I've always been a standby traveler.
Oh, yeah,
But it's really cool to hear about like your spontaneity as a traveler, even paying for these trips and being spontaneous with the way that you decide, hey, it's snowing in London, I'm going to go to Madrid. Like that kind of stuff is actually really inspiring, and it's kind of like...
And honestly, that flight, if I remember correctly, we might have paid $70 round trip.
Really?
Yeah, because especially in Europe, once you're in Europe, it's easy to move around in different places. It's inexpensive. You can catch a train to most places. You know, you just gotta do a tad bit of research. And by tad bit, I mean if you don't have, you can. Can I tell?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So there's an app you can try called Skip Lagged, SKIPLAGGED. That's a great one to check out. And then Secret Flying. They have an app, but you can also go on the website. Great place to start for, especially Secret Flying for international traveling.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have great deals all the time. You can see where you're trying to go, pick alerts.
Yeah.
Good place to start.
So you gave us a little bit of the gems. We still got to come to travel culture for the full thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the last time I looked at it, I think it was called Flight Watch or something like that, Watchdog or something like that. But I didn't even know about Skip Lag. So
yeah, Skip, especially for last minute flights.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one to check out for sure.
That's dope. You have a very genuine sad spirit, right? Do your friends, and then because what's coming up for me is like the prices. Sometimes sounds like you could be a bit lucky in finding prices. Do your friends like say to you, nah, it's because like you always get the good deals, or you...
Nah, I'm the person that pretty much lines our trips up. Yeah, I'm the travel guide, you know, like I do all the booking for the most part now because they trust in it.
Okay.
Yeah, when they got somebody trying to charge them, like we were going to London, I think, and my god sister, the lady was charging like $1,200 a piece or something, which wasn't crazy, but I ended up finding same flights, room and board for like $700. So
we could call it luck, or we could just call it savvy traveling.
Savvy traveling,
Yeah.
I promise you. It's been proven.
I love it. So you travel and enjoy life, love it, right? When do you find time for work?
Oh, I work every day. Yeah, like trust me, even when I'm naming these places, I'm still working. Like my laptop is right here. It doesn't leave my side. And I usually work way longer than anybody else I know. Like when I'm here in Atlanta especially, I'm at my house and I'm working, or I'm at somebody's hookah lounge and I'm working there as well. But my laptop is always out.
What does work look like for you?
Just depends on the day. Yeah, like I say, operations for one, moving into like the digital space for another right now, and then trying to build out travel culture, get merch together. Packaging, like it varies. So I kind of try to map out my days. So one day dedicated to this business, one day dedicated to this business, or if something urgent comes up, switch it around. But that's kind of like how it gives me the structure so that I'm not just like all over the place.
I got you. In the sense of work and play, sometimes I want to mix more like family and friends when I'm like working, but I still haven't found that sweet spot of working on something I like to focus on, and then actually like spending quality time with people. I haven't meshed those two yet. Have you been able to mesh the two?
I can say I have. 90% of my inner circle are entrepreneurs, right? And we all work the same. So my house is pretty much our office, like daily. 4 people there. Everybody's on their laptops. We have a little area that if you gotta go get on a call, like you go over there to get on the call, or you're on the patio or something, and everybody else is just like laptops, music playing, probably a hookah, and some Ivan John.
And still getting the work in.
Still getting to work. Yeah, because we don't talk to each other. Yeah, I mean, it's, a little interaction here and there, but like, it's more so like, hey, you got work to do. I'm not going to disturb you. Same way you're not going to disturb me. But that's our quality time.
I love that.
Yeah, like, that's when we get to spend time together.
When you say 90% of your friends are entrepreneurs, to me, I envision a shift somewhere, right? Do you feel like you've lost?
Oh, in my friend group?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it always?
Nah.
Was it you've lost some friends along the way?
Not lost.
Okay.
I just don't get to see as often.
Yeah.
Just because, once again, like, I see my group of friends so often because we work together, But everybody else we all have our lives outside of that, but, kids and everything else. But that's our quality time. So with that being said, a lot of my other friends who don't have that freedom, I don't get to see as often because it's it's very a short time frame, and then I'm always traveling somewhere, so it just kind of can be a little hectic.
I agree. I got you.
So a lot of FaceTime calls.
Just to stay connected with the people you really want to.
And social media, man. I feel like that's the easiest way for it.
Yeah, I think social media allows us to stay more connected than, if as long as you see someone on Gram, you like them, you know what's going on. It's like you see the baby growing up. There doesn't feel like any space. Like we
had a whole conversation.
Right. I just saw you the other day.
Instagram, man. I saw you. So
it really does allow us to keep tabs with the people we love, even if we don't see them for a long time. That's pretty cool. And I admire the fact that you say 90% of your friends are entrepreneurs. I feel like I'm kind of in a space where I'm in a shift of friends, right? Because I left corporate maybe 3 years ago. Thank you. It was a whole thing. But I think the transition is, happening where it's like not even a choice. I just don't see my friends as much as I used to.
And you got to put in a lot more work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
In the beginning.
Your time is very valuable.
Absolutely. And you've been able to develop genuine friends as an entrepreneur, so I think it just gives me hope.
Oh, yeah. Trust me. You can always come to our friend group, man. We accept applications right now. So.
Thank you.
Yeah,
now I have a whole essay.
Yeah, come on up.
Let me be your friend. So, as we talk about travel culture a little bit more, this is more like a true or false or agree or disagree type of thing. I've learned that the best way to get to know a person is by traveling with them for 24 hours or more.
I can see that.
Would you agree? And I mean relationships. I mean friendships. I've gone to countries with people I don't even know.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Yeah, I've done the same thing, and I do agree. I've done that with people that I would never go on trips with again. Yeah. 100%.
Do you have, and I want you to share whatever you feel comfortable with sharing, but do you have any
I can't put any.
You're not doing that?
Yeah, because if I mention a trip, that person will be like, oh, you're talking. Yeah, I just kidding.
Well, I will say that there have been people who I'm like, you can be really cool with, and as soon as you travel, you're like, oh, you just, now I know all of the side of you.
You're like, now I know why you have no friends, because you probably travel with all of them.
Or they saw this side of you before I got a chance to. Hey guys, it's Ariel from the Work and Play podcast. If you're getting any value from this channel, and I mean anything from the tutorials to the podcast to the random videos that you see on this channel, then I just ask that you do one thing. Please subscribe. Subscribe and share this to anyone that you think this resonates with, and drop a comment below so I know what other things that you want to see next. Now let's get back to the episode.
Oh man, I got some funny travel stories for sure.
I would love to hear them.
Definitely, but this is about you.
Right.
So you find time for work. Well, actually, no, you find time for enjoyment, should I say, because you're always working.
I enjoy working too, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really do find pleasure and figuring things out and seeing the businesses grow, you know,
Yeah.
that makes me happy.
Yeah. What's the latest business adventure you've gotten into lately?
The latest one, that would be, well, travel coach. That's my latest project
Okay.
that I'm actually starting to work on now. Yeah, because before it was just an idea.
Okay.
So we're actually putting in the work currently. Oh, and I just got on the board for the Faith Project. It's a great nonprofit.
Oh, cool.
So I'll be working with them, I think, in their digital media. So
Nice. What's it like being a board member of a nonprofit?
I just got on this one, but I can speak on some previous ones.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was on the board for the Georgia Breast Cancer Coalition Fund. It's a long name. And I love that. I love that nonprofit, that board, like a wonderful group of women. I want to say I was probably like the only guy, I know I was the only guy in the org, but when I used to go to conferences in DC with them, maybe one or two dudes. I know I was the youngest for sure, because at this time I was probably like 25, 20, no, yeah, about 26 maybe, 27. But it was great, man. It was a very active board. So we were very much involved. Like I said, we just go to all the conference, fundraisers, just trying to stay in tune and helping individuals with, breast cancer. And I learned a lot. I learned a whole lot from those individuals. And everybody's like, why do you care so much? Do you know anybody with breast cancer? And I'm like, nah, I'm just an able being person. Like, why wouldn't I, help? You guys brought me into this.
Yeah.
Of course I'm going to do whatever I can.
Mm.
But now it's a great situation, man. I truly, shout out to the Georgia Breast Cancer Coalition Fund.
You've been pretty civic minded for a long time. I think it's actually admirable seeing that I didn't really do my first volunteer event for real until I was 25, and then I got super gung ho. That just changed my whole life. But I know a lot of people who have stories where they kind of stumble into civility in nonprofit world. When you were thinking about like, okay, I know there's more, right?
Yeah.
You're starting to swirl around things that you might be interested in, things that you want to explore. Was nonprofit or impact or any of that at the forefront of your mind?
Yeah, I always knew I wanted to do something definitely in the nonprofit field or like giving back to the community, because once again I know how we grew up, and still know a lot of individuals, and still in those situations. So we always, once again, that was the backbone behind Top Flight for one. Like we're working on, I didn't mention it, but we're working on a scholarship right now for our high school that we went to, and then next year I'll be implementing one for Georgia State. But so we've always been like, all right, we got to do something. No matter what it is, we got to do our part, because it's only so much you can make it. It's like and do with it, And I feel way better when I'm able to do something for somebody else versus go buy some new shoes, or something like that. And it doesn't take a shit ton of money. Can I curse in here?
It's done.
Okay. To help somebody out.
Yeah.
To change somebody's day.
Yeah.
It don't gotta be much. You don't gotta come in with it with these absurd amounts of money. You can do something with $100.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. That's beautiful. I really do admire that. There is one other thing that I am super curious about. And even though you said it was cliche, I feel like it was definitely impactful. And it was that Tony Robbins experience.
Yeah.
So, and it does actually in this, as I'm curious about the journey of like kind of self-fulfillment and you finding your why. It may or may not have even been a Tony Robbins. I think it's what I would say is, my suggestion is always to actively put yourself in situations that will allow you to find yourself, right? And if it's a Tony Robbins event, let it be. For me, it was a 3-day retreat in Chicago with this lady who taught yoga. So I'm intentionally trying to find my why.
Yeah.
You were intentionally trying, and we didn't say find our why, we were intentionally trying to find ourselves or explore. So for you in the journey, for people who are listening to your story and they're like, man, this guy sounds cool. He's traveling, always been traveling. He's civic minded. He's got work and play kind of on lock. You sound very balanced in the way that you view things. what would you say is that first step that someone can take, right, before, whether without it being drastic scenario, situations that they can actually take their own, control of their life and their own development into their own hands and find something similar to what you're finding?
I think exploring. Once again, for me, what you made a good point saying that we put ourselves in those situations to be able to find our why, right? I went to that seminar because I knew who he was and what he was, supposedly doing and stuff like that, but still very skeptical. But once again, it was stuff that I knew. I knew that I enjoyed giving back and, helping people and everything else, but I had never aligned that with that's your core, So I think exploring yourself in any way, for some people it's different. Like I have a Zen coach that helps me continue to explore and tap into, another way of thinking and viewing things. But I don't know, like going into it, just starting off, man, that's a tough one. I think it's going to vary.
You saying explore is actually really, really like it hits hard.
Yeah, I feel like, trial and error is going to be different things for different people. I had done other seminars before then. It just wasn't what I needed. Reading, I listened to podcasts and all that stuff that actually helped shape my mind and my ways of thinking as well. So maybe try finding a book that you enjoy, or something that's out of your norm but that you still may find fruitful, and starting there.
Yeah, pretty straightforward, right? When you think about it,
Yeah.
I mean, in the moment, you feel like I'm not happy. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I know this isn't it.
Yeah.
Now what?
Yeah. Or talk to people. Yeah, talk to individuals. See what what they have going on. I don't think nobody should mind telling you about what they have going on. Now, don't be a pest about it, but I don't think anybody who has something going on will mind saying like, oh yeah, man, I'm in this field. And figure out what that field is. Then you can go do your own research and see if that's something for you as well.
Yeah. Well, thanks for sharing those breadcrumbs. I think
sure.
it's important for us to be able to show as many people in different scenarios what they need to do to get to where they want to go.
Yeah.
And if they're willing to take the action, talk to someone, explore, read a book, podcast, feed your mind. I think all of those things definitely lead you to a place where you can feel more self-fulfilled.
Yeah.
In the long run. And you don't have to wait until you're 50 or 60 to retire to do it.
No, you don't. Don't do that. Try not to do that if you can help it.
Absolutely. So, one, I want to thank you so much for joining me on the couch today. Yeah, your story is amazing. And for those of us who are listening and watching and they want to stay connected with you, they either want to work with you professionally or they want to just continue following your journey, how can they connect with you?
All social media is just at TK James. Pretty simple. Or at Top Flight Security LLC on Instagram. And you can feel free to reach out to me via email, tkjames4@gmail.com. And yeah.
There you have it. Again, I want to thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for listening and thank you for watching. But until next time, peace out, guys.